It became clear that someone had urinated into a Coke bottle because they were afraid to go to the toilet. In late 2015, I set out to write a book about the low-pay economy in Britain, and the first company I worked at, I ended up in an Amazon warehouse. It's no exaggeration to say that it was probably the worst place I've ever worked in. And I'm someone who, when I was younger, did jobs in warehouses. I did manual jobs for many years. The experience at Amazon was one I felt of exploitation. There were rules that were laid down for workers that you couldn't not break. You were being given disciplinaries for going to the toilet. You were given disciplinaries for taking days off sick, even if you provided a doctor's note to say why you were off sick. And you were constantly tracked by management. Your productivity rates became so high that you ended up running around this huge warehouse just trying to keep up with your orders. And at the same time, there was a prohibition on running around the warehouse. You'd receive a disciplinary for that. The atmosphere of the Amazon warehouse I worked in had the atmosphere of what I imagined a prison would feel like. You weren't treated with any respect, with any dignity.
You claim that you found a bottle with urine in it at the warehouse.
One of the consequences of this obsession with productivity and these onerous targets we were given at Amazon was you were afraid to go to the toilet, because if you took 5 minutes to go to the toilet, you were then admonished about it by management when you returned to work. One day when I was working in the warehouse, I was walking down one of the huge aisles and I noticed a Coke bottle of kind of yellow liquid, and my instinctive reaction was, what on earth is that? And then on closer inspection, the lid was off and the smell became apparent. It became clear that someone had urinated into a Coke bottle because they were afraid to go to the toilet. It became very obvious why someone might have done that, because there was an atmosphere of fear around something as basic as going to the toilet. My account of the working conditions at Amazon is accurate. I went in there with an open mind. I didn't know that much about Amazon before I went in there. I didn't go in with any kind of agenda. There was a recent survey done by the group Organize, and they found that 74% of Amazon workers were afraid to go to the toilet because of productivity targets. Now, with that in mind, it doesn't seem a stretch to see that if people are worried about losing their jobs because of productivity targets, they might go so far as to urinate in a bottle if it means losing their job otherwise. Amazon, much of the stuff it's putting out now is pure public relations.
Last week, I asked Amazon workers to share their experiences with my office about wages and working conditions at Amazon. Many hundreds of them responded.
My position at Amazon was an order picker. I'd work 10.5 hours a day, and I would walk in that time around 10 miles a day. And it's very tiring work, and within that day, you'd have half an hour for a lunch break and then 2 separate 10-minute breaks. But in practice, it would be much less than that, because you're in such a huge warehouse, you have to go through security to get to the canteen. Your half-hour break was realistically 15 to 20 minutes, and your 10-minute break was 5 minutes.
And the issue of working conditions, I'm very proud of our working conditions.
If I was Jeff Bezos, I would be ashamed of the working conditions at Amazon. The stories have gone on for long enough that he can't plead ignorance to what's going on in his warehouses. There are policies which are set, which are coming down from on high.
And I'm very proud of the wages that we pay.
The wealthiest man in the world, the head of the biggest multinational in the world, is effectively saying that he can't afford to pay workers a living wage, and he can't afford to treat workers with the dignity that all workers deserve. The initial response to the work that I did was, first of all, they wanted to meet up for coffee with me, as typically corporations tend to do when a journalist writes something negative about them. Then it moved on to trying to get me to edit certain things I was writing and paint Amazon in a more favourable light. And then secondly, it was workers in Amazon's warehouses reaching out to me with stories similar to my own.
Maybe that's why Amazon is experimenting with drones, because they work and they don't complain.